I see you have some encouraging early childhood trends here. Indeed, you live in a state that ranks among the best of how America's states do by children. You can see significant gains in such indicators as infant and child mortality, the teen birth rate, the percentage of children living with fully employed parents. Yet how could it be in this some ways rich and also always special region that you have hundreds upon hundreds of fourth graders who cannot read at even minimally proficient levels? How can it be that the median wage in your 335 licensed child care centers is less than $9 an hour? Why is the rate of juvenile delinquency in this region increasing? How can it be that more than 1 out of 5 of your 18 to 24-year-olds have not graduated from high school? How can it be that 15% of your 2-year-olds haven't had all their shots? What does it tell us that there were more than 9,000 instances of child abuse and neglect reported here last year? And then I read a week's worth of the Green Bay Press-Gazette and the Oshkosh Northwestern and the Post-Crescent of Appleton Fox Cities. And I see stories about teen mothers aging out of the foster care system. And I read about young people on drinking binges. And I see, for a better note, this morning's Press-Gazette editorial commentary headlined about the early childhood years and the importance of the very first few months. And those stories and more stories remind me that this region, for all its great blessings, will never achieve its brightest future unless you place significantly more emphasis on the early childhood years. If you went back with me just a decade ago, you would find that I knew literally almost nothing about the subject that I am talking about today. I was simply a newspaperman, someone who has met and talked with 6 presidents of the United States, interviewed one of them on Air Force One, interviewed Fidel Castro in Havana, interviewed the good and the bad, met the Pope, lived in a world, I did not tell the Pope at the time that, but I do have an apostolic blessing at home, I want you to know, that I touch every single day. You never can tell when Mr. Berzik might come after me again. Back in 1996, I was recruited by the then governor of Florida, Lawton Chiles, to be on the Governor's Commission on Education. It was a 2-year mission. And our assignment on that commission was to look at 6 different areas for the next millennium in education in Florida. And one of those 6 task forces was called readiness, school readiness. I had never heard of the topic to this point. And yes, you have before you the father of 5 children. Yes, you have before you a grandfather. Yes, you have before you someone whose children, I believe, were raised according to the principles of high-quality health and education and nurturing, even if I didn't realize that there were principles undergirding what we're talking about today. The governor asked me to chair readiness, and what I came to understand re-energized my life and led me to, quote, retire, close quote, from a business I had loved intensely. I had a great deal to learn. Frankly, I had a great deal to unlearn. Crucially, I came to understand not that the only learning years of one's life are to be found in the earliest years, because in fact good people learn all their lives, but rather, as was described earlier, that the windows of opportunity are open especially wide in those early years, and never again will they be quite so wide. I wish I had learned, on behalf of Miami, Spanish as a tiny child than when I was 47 years old. I also came to understand that it was not only about intellectual and cognitive growth, not only about physical growth, but social and emotional, and I would tell you, spiritual growth as well, which I think is crucial to humankind. I've had a lot to unlearn, as I said, including any sense this was about, say, children learning to read by age 3 or so. I read a great deal. I visited places like France and Italy and China. I came to know the research, and I continue to follow it closely. You heard some report and research from Dennis just a few minutes ago, but I'll give you one more. If you have 50 children at the end of first grade who are lousy readers, 44 of them are still lousy readers after fourth grade. And as hard as the superintendent works, and I know he works hard and cares, and I had a chance to sit alongside him at dinner last night and came away, frankly, very impressed. As hard as he works, my God, you'd be doing him a favor if you delivered the children to his school system in significantly better shape than an enormous number of them are. I came to believe the tragedy of early childhood unpreparedness was preventable. I came to believe that however good your intentions and my own, we would never make more than incremental change unless we could create real public will for real change. Beginning, of course, with real public awareness on the part of parents for what their children really need. Because it is a blasphemy to say that parents do not care about children. They care deeply. I came to believe that you and I are going to need to work on many fronts. You can talk about this pre-K program and this kindergarten program, but you need to talk about all of it, because not one of these things will make it work by itself. And you need to talk about high quality, because only real quality makes a real difference in outcomes for children. I came to believe that our most important work must be on the local stage, because frankly, my friends, we are not France and we are not going to be France. The great power in our country is a local power. People deciding what they want for their children. I came to believe that you and I must, community by community, build a movement for everyone's child, poor and rich and in between. Is there a connection between socioeconomic status and successful children? Yes, there is. But please don't run out the window with this, because there are an extraordinary number of poor children who grow up to be sensational adults, and not a few rich kids who turn out to be people we wouldn't want around us. The fact of the matter is that the wisest path to public education reform in America, knowing that public education is the real world for 90% of the children in America and in Wisconsin, is to deliver those children in far better shape to kindergarten and first grade than so many children now are.